I want to thank the leadership, specifically the speaker, the tall representative from Olathe, for his support and leadership in this process. And I want to thank you for entrusting me and giving me a chance to put into action what I learned last year going through this process. I want to thank you all for the patience and your willingness to join in this resolution. 113 total signed on. It is my honor to help carry, and it's help, there's many more that are going to talk, HCR 5030 on the floor today. I was not the author. There were many people who had input into this specific language, and many are here in the Capitol today. Some will speak to this resolution. This is more than a bipartisan issue. This is a world issue, an issue of humanity, civility, and being offered the opportunity for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. HCR 5030 adopts the non-legally binding International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance working definition of anti-Semitism, including the 11 examples. Again, others will talk about this. But we're only 80 years removed from the events that led to more than 6 million Jews being brutally tortured and murdered for their belief. And yet here we are with anti-Semitism on the rise again, even here in Kansas. Let me just cover a few quick facts. And we don't always get it right the first time. We hope and we learn from past, and we strive to make ourselves a more perfect union. Here's just some quick facts for you. Anti-Semitism events, 12% increase from 2020 to 2021. American Jews represent 2%, yet they're experiencing 8% of the hate crimes. Last night I was walking through the halls trying to come up with some inspiration for today, and several plaques caught my attention. In the mid-1800s, the nation was on the brink of tearing itself apart, and the eyes were upon Kansas. Was Kansas going to be a free state? Kansas stood up despite all the pressure and chose to be a leader, chose to be free. I think, again, we find ourselves with the eyes upon us. Let us demonstrate for the country and the world that we believe in freedom, that people are equal. President Eisenhower challenged us to focus on the team and the future. With this resolution, we are being leaders. Kansas is calling everyone that there is opportunity for everyone. Everyone is welcome. We are standing for opportunity to live life to its fullest. The state-by-state adoption of the IHRA's definition is a national effort to stop anti-Semitism by calling out publicly in many ways. There's evidence that awareness and public acknowledgement has had an impact on reducing these hate crimes. I realize there's other people ready to talk, so why don't I do this? How about Mr. Chair, I'm going to step away and allow others who are waiting to also talk on this resolution and help carry. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Does any member wish to speak to the bill, the HCR? Chair recognizes Representative Osman.
On April 13th, 2014, 2 shootings occurred at the Jewish Community Center in Overland Park, Kansas. After firing at several other people, but missing, the shooter fled in his car and opened fire at Village Shalom, a Jewish retirement community located a little more than a mile away from the community center. A total of 3 people were killed that day. The shooter, who was a Klansman and a neo-Nazi, specifically went to those 2 locations in an attempt to kill as many Jews as possible. It was a cruel twist of irony that none of the victims were Jewish. The reason why is because the Jewish community is open and welcoming to everybody. It's also the reason that anti-Semitic behavior and actions affect not just the Jewish people, but everyone in the community. This is one of the primary reasons why this resolution is so necessary. According to the FBI's 2020 statistics, hate crimes against Jews make up 57.5% of all religiously based hate crimes in this country. Here's another fact. 1/3 of Jewish students in America have experienced anti-Semitism directed against them. Of those, 80% reported that it happened to them more than once during the last academic year. This isn't just a problem facing the Jewish community. The presence of anti-Semitism is an assault on the core value of any democratic society, fostering conspiracy theories that erode faith in our democratic institutions. We need to be open and honest about what's happening. We need to acknowledge it, discuss it, and prevent it from spreading. But we cannot fight what we can't define. Defining anti-Semitism using the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's definition, the internationally accepted gold standard, is an important step to combat this ancient hatred. Using that definition as an educational tool for Kansas agencies is the next. As one of the very few Jewish legislators, being able to talk about HCR 5030 right here today on the floor of the House is extremely important to me. But knowing that HCR 5030 has already been co-sponsored by over 90% of the members of this House is humbling and makes me realize that this resolution is really important to everybody. This resolution was a collaboration by quite a number of people. Gabrielle Geller and the Jewish Community Relations Bureau, American Jewish Committee, Marjorie Robina, and the Combat Anti-Semitism Movement, they have started this process. Their goal was to make Kansas the first of all 50 states to pass this type of resolution. But they wanted to ensure that this process was truly bipartisan and bicameral. So they brought together legislators from both parties and both chambers to collaborate on it. Up here in this podium, I unfortunately can't name the names directly of those who worked tirelessly to bring this resolution to fruition. But it would be the representative from Johnson County, the representative from Johnson County as well, the representative from Johnson County, and maybe even a senator from Johnson County for good measure. This doesn't get done without all of you, so I wanted to thank you, all of you, for your work and support during the last 6 or more months that has moved from planning to fruition. I'm proud to say that when HCR 5030 passes here today, and when it goes to the Senate and passes there, we as Kansas legislators will have come together for something good and meaningful for our Kansas communities. We will also pave the way for this message to spread state by state across this great nation of ours. So thank you very much. Let me ask, thank you very much. The only thing I would say is thank you very much for your time today, and I urge you to support HCR 5030.
For further discussion, the chair recognizes Representative Tim Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to thank the House leadership because it was their support for this humanitarian document and giving me the honor to work on it and be allowed to help carry this House concurrent resolution 5030 defining anti-Semitism. It was not quite a year ago when this body enacted another resolution against violence towards the Jewish community. And then in June of 2021, leadership supported my appearance at a televised community event along with civic and religious leaders from all faiths. This bipartisan group spoke against anti-Semitism and is the father of what we do today. This resolution is based on the definition by the International Holocaust Alliance, reflects the detailed review by both the Jewish community and the bipartisan acts and review of people in this House from the Johnson County area. This bipartisan effort reflects character and caring of the entire Kansas House of Representatives. And regardless of our individual beliefs, the House cares about people. And it makes me proud to be part of this group. Thank you for your overwhelming support. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative. For further discussion, the chair recognizes Representative Poskin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Body, the horrific events of April 13th, 2014 unfolded in the heart of House District 20 at the Jewish Community Center. I rise in support of HCR 5030 in honor of my entire constituency. Thank you.
Thank you. For further discussion, the chair recognizes Representative Shue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm proud to be up here today in support of HCR 5030. Last year, during the rise in Asian American violence in the country, one of the first people to reach out to me was a member of the Jewish Community Relations Bureau, and that meant quite a lot to me. They understood how rhetoric around other countries not happening in the States could have an impact on Americans living here. And so over the last couple of years, as violence in our respective communities kind of waxed and waned for a variety of different reasons, we've kept in touch and discussed the issues facing our respective communities. So today, I just kind of want to recognize that and then show appreciation to the Jewish community for that. I also wanted to recognize that the ancient Chinese-Jewish alliance extended past just Christmas time every year, and then today I'm proud to be up here in support of the Jewish people. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. For further discussion, the chair recognizes Representative Weigel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be brief. I appreciate the comments of the previous speakers. I do also stand in support of HCR 5030. I'm just going to give you a little bit of background on my experience. I was sent to West Germany at the request of the U.S. Army and the federal government back in the early 70s. My unit traveled around West Germany quite a bit. Some of the places that they sent us to were Hamburg. We actually trained, and we were in an armored unit, worked with British counterparts there. Met a British sergeant there, and we got to know each other. We were both tank crew members, and he took us out around the area, which is called Fallingbostel, West Germany. He took us out to some of the local pubs and showed us some of the nightlights. But one place we went by, which was not far from where our unit was bivouacked for about 2-3 weeks, was a place called Bergen-Belsen. There was nothing there. It was basically sand and dirt. And he took us by there one evening, and he said, this is used to be a concentration camp during World War II. The British had liberated that in April, and they were there for about 4 or 5 days, and the conditions there were so bad that the British military commander on site decided that the whole camp had to be razed and it was burned to the ground. If any of you are familiar with Bergen-Belsen or the background, that's where Anne Frank lost her life when they moved her there from Auschwitz. So what I'm going to talk to you about here is the places that I've been to over there. And that's Bergen-Belsen, Nordhausen, which was actually a V2 rocket assembly plant. It was built inside of the mountains in the Harz-Thuringia Mountains in Germany. Neuengamme, which was actually a subcamp of Bergen-Belsen, which was located on the southwest side, if I remember correctly, southwest side of Hamburg. That has also been pretty much bulldozed down to the ground, and they've rebuilt it as a memorial site. The last one I actually did not visit until 2001 when my wife and I took a trip back to Germany. And we also visited a place called Dachau, which is about 12 or 15 miles north of Munich. And I'm sure you recognize that place. Very moving to go to these places and see what went on. And I think the resolution today is very important because of what happened back in the 1930s. And I would caution all of you that what happened there in the 30s can happen anywhere else in this world as it is today. So I support HCR 5030, and I hope you will stand with everybody else. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative. For further discussion, the chair recognizes Representative Featherston.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill is this resolution is a good example how you can just be living your ordinary life and have something terrible intersect with it. Village Shalom is on my regular bike route. I probably ride past it 100, 200 times a year. You go up the hill and you're thinking, wow, this is kind of steep. And then you hit a Blue Valley grade school and a Blue Valley high school, all within walking distance of this. And then I read in the paper one morning, there's been a terrible murder there and 3 innocent people were killed. And I think, oh, wow, that's right on my bike route. Gosh, I could have ridden right by it. And then I get a text from my daughter, and it turns out one of the women murdered was her best friend's godmother. So today, I stand in support of this bill in honor of Terry Lamano, who was murdered that day, her goddaughter Rose Smithson, who is just like a daughter to me, and her mom, Pat Smithson, who is Terry's dear friend. Terry was an innocent bystander in all of this, and she and 2 others were murdered by a terrible, hateful person, and we need to stand up against that hate, and we need to honor those who are there. So, in honor of Terry and Rose and Pat, I'm pleased to sponsor this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak to this resolution? Seeing none, Representative Croft, you may close.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank all those that were involved in this process. And I want to thank all those for your comments, those comments today. This was truly a team effort as we went through this. You know, Kansas is a leader in leading the charge on anti-Semitism. One way we are leading is we're lucky enough to have and host one of the more robust exhibits dedicated to the Holocaust. It's at Union Station, and I would encourage everyone to attend that powerful exhibit, if you can get tickets, that is. I encourage that we support HCR 5030 and join 11 other states and over 300 non-federal entities worldwide using the definition of anti-Semitism and help create awareness that anti-Semitism should not and will not be tolerated in Kansas or in the world. With that, Mr. Chair, I move that when the committee rises and reports, it reports House Bill 5030 favorably for passage as amended.
Body, you've heard the motion by Representative Croft to report HCR 5030 favorably. All of those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The HCR is passed.